Most of ideas never make it out of development. In tech, that's a cost. In leadership, well, that's a potential lost. If you've been waiting for the right moment to start, well, this is it. Not because you have it all figured out, but because you don't need to. You just need your next step. If you ever found yourself overthinking, stalling, and waiting until things are perfect, well, this episode is for you. Because today we are embracing movement. We are embracing imperfection. We're embracing good enough for now, safe enough to try. Because here's the thing, when you move, you learn. When you act, you can also adjust. And when you keep stepping, you start to lead. One small intentional step outside your comfort zone. That is just enough to spark movement, not fear. It doesn't need to be bold or perfect, just real and yours.
Confidence starts inside of you.
Hi and welcome back to Confident Leadership in Color. I'm your host, Hanna Saxmy, and today we're stepping into the second N of the Confident framework. And that is next step. This is where we move from insights to action, from thinking to trying, from circling around a desired idea to simply testing one thing. One step, one act plus one. So let me tell you about a story from my own journey. For quite some time, I had this quiet desire bubbling under the surface. I wanted to create something with the theme of self-leadership. But I didn't yet know how I would do it or how it would take shape. I had notes, scattered ideas, flashes of inspiration, but, well, no clear path forward. At the same time, I had just made the decision to fully step out as an entrepreneur. No longer employed within someone else's company, but building my own. The company I had been dreaming about for years. So when I came across a webinar series about entrepreneurship and online business, my curiosity sparked. I finally had a space to explore, to be inspired, and to shape something from scratch. And I wanted to make the most of it. So during the day between Christmas and New Year's Eve, I spent a few hours each day diving deeper. One of the webinars offered a clear, simple overview of how to create an online group coaching program. It wasn't revolutionary, but it was enough. Enough to see a direction, enough to feel a pull. That was all I needed. And in those quiet in-between days, I found the confidence to say, well, this is worth a shot. This is worth exploring. I would create and deliver a 4-week group program within 12 weeks. I didn't have a name. I didn't have a ready-made concept or content for that sake. I didn't have participants, but I had willingness to try and a promise to myself to stay close to creativity, energy, and flow. Because I knew when I feel energized in the delivery, it creates better results. Not just for me, but for everyone I work with. That's the leadership I want to model. Alignment between intention, energy, and action. So I anchored myself in one of those simple mantras. Good enough for now, safe enough to try. So that changed things. I spent less time overthinking, more time creating, more time following what felt alive. And I let the process unfold. And I let each step teach me what the next one needed to be. And the result? Yes. a course named Färgrikt Ledarskap was born. Direct translation to English is colorful leadership. I know that colorful has a negative meaning in English, but vibrant leadership maybe is the more fitting name on it, if we take it in English. So this course was delivered in Swedish. I delivered the course and over 50 people joined. About half of them I knew from before. It was friends, former colleagues, old clients, but the other half were completely new connections. That made it extra exciting. And the feedback I received, well, it really moved me deeply. People spoke about clarity, courage, growth, and how they were taking real intentional steps in the directions towards their dreams. I celebrated every one of them, not because they had it all figured out, but because they had invested in themselves and dared to move. And then came the moment that made me most proud. One of the participants from the very first round, someone who had shared a glowing testimonial, came back. She registered for a new round, this time as a full-paying participant. And she said, "During the course, I discovered so many new things about myself. I gained confidence to take action towards what I truly want. And just as importantly, clarity on what's mine to carry and what's not. I can let go of things more easily now and no longer let them drain me. I feel calmer, and in 6 months since the course, that sense of calm has deepened. I have stepped into a whole new level now. And from here, I want to renew clarity to keep moving forward because I see new things now and I dream bigger." And that's what happens when we stop trying to plan every step and instead take one thoughtful step forward, see what's open up, and let that shape what comes next. So let me tell you about Liza, a client who came to coaching feeling rather stuck. She is a high performer, respected, trusted, and responsible for a big strategic initiative. But somewhere along the way, she found herself constantly dragging the project team along, always pushing to get things moving. At the same time, demands from the organization were increasing, and the pressure from the senior management to deliver the project far earlier than planned only added the weight. Everything felt urgent. There were barely space to think, let alone lead with clarity. She kept saying to me, "I don't have the time to get the team more involved so they can take their own decisions. It's hard to keep alignment and focus. There's just too much going on. I feel so stuck." And this is something I hear a lot. When the pressure is too high and everything feels like it's crashing in, we don't move, we freeze. And that's exactly where she was at that point. So we didn't try to change everything. Instead, we zoomed in on one piece, one place where she wanted things to feel a bit better for herself, for the project, and for the team. One step that could shift her from pushing alone to leading with more support and shared ownership. So, what was her act plus one? She introduced a check-in at the start of each team meeting. Not a performance review, just a few simple questions. How are you arriving today? What will your focus be? And what do you need help with? That small shift, just a few minutes, changed the whole dynamic. People slowed down, they opened up, and they admitted they too were feeling scattered and stuck. And suddenly, the meeting wasn't just another task. It became a space for connection, to support, and for realignment. People began to see how they could support each other. Liza, she started focusing on articulating the project vision more clearly, helping the team connect their daily task to the bigger pictures. What I loved about Liza's shifts was that how small and meaningful it was. It didn't need a new system. It didn't require budget or approval, just an intentional act of leadership. And when that worked, well, she took another and another. She moved from stuck into motion, from firefighting to clarity, from carrying it all herself to building a shared momentum, one grounded step at a time. So let's talk about your next step, because it's easy to listen to stories like these and feel inspired and still stay in your head. And this is where Act+1 comes in. Not as a strategy, more as a mindset, a habit of leadership. Act+1 means choosing just one small step or sometimes one simple test to help you to explore if a certain path is the right for you. A +1 that you can make today or this week to move gently in the direction you want to go. Not the perfect step, not the ultimate fix, just something real, something that gets you into motion. Before you decide what to do, I want to invite you to reflect. What feels important to move forward on right now? Where do I long for more clarity, ease, or energy? What might my next step be? What's the smallest test I can try here and now? And when will I do it? Today or tomorrow? And once you have that idea, test it. Not as a lifelong commitment, but as a curious experiment. Because here's what often happens. We start overthinking. What if it doesn't work? We play out all of those worst case scenarios in our minds. But ask yourself this: if I'm still standing in the same spot 3 or 5 years from now, still wondering, still pondering, still hesitating, how would that feel in comparison? From my perspective, well, that would be far worse than trying something now and simply learning from it. You don't need a perfect outcome. You just need a real feedback. So take the smallest step that nudges you forward and let that experience shape your next move. Let it be outside your comfort zone, enough to feel like moment, but not panic. Because when the step is small, it's easier to learn from. You will get feedback much quicker and you stay closer to your energy. And the most importantly, you don't get stuck in overthinking. You stay in motion. Act+1 is not about being fast. It's about being in flow. It's about staying connected to your direction and moving with intention, even when things feel unclear. And if you're still uncertain, remember, even if something doesn't give the result you hoped for, it still gives you insight. Ask yourself, what did I learn? What can I do differently next time? It's not a failure. It's just one test. And it's one test closer to the answer you're looking for. So, what's your Act+1 this week? What is the one small thing you could test? Not to fix everything, but to move. One nudge forward. One step out of your head and into momentum. Love to hear what you try. You can always tag me on Instagram or send me a message. I read everyone. And if you want regular encouragement and inspiration from your leadership journey, make sure that you're on my Confident Boost mailing list. And you find the link in the show notes. If something sparked in you around the group coaching, if you're curious about stepping into a vibrant leadership space where you get to grow together with others, well, have a look at the course. I will do it both in Swedish and English going forward. Depending on the timing, there's usually a waitlist open. You can find more information in the notes too. And as you understood, during this time when I'm recording this, I'm preparing for a launch of this new round of my group coaching program. And this time I'm taking my own new step and next step, because I'll be offered this in English for the very first time. So just like I shared in my story earlier, I use this opportunity to co-create a tailored experience together with those who want to join. So since this is the first time I'll be running this in English and in this format, you have the chance to influence the content. It's also be offering it as a special introductory rate. So therefore, before confirming participants, I'll be speaking individually with those who register their interest. And that way, I can better understand your expectations and ensure that the group is really a good match. So if you're quick to sign up, you have a great chance to be part of it. It's the first come, first served principle. And at the time of this recording, I haven't finalized the program name yet, but it's on its way. You find the link and able to apply to it through the show notes. And remember, you don't have to have all figured out before you begin. It's just one test to make, and sometimes that one step changes everything. So until next time, keep leading with confidence in color.
Bright and brave in every hue. Confidence starts inside of you.